where they say that if we find you with money, etc., you cannot explain, it's money laundering. And that one, once again, they say they have been passed on the case to the Awuku. Then Governor Dami wrote the opinion that no, Awuku shouldn't go on. That law cannot be applied.
Other ways of getting a fugitive to arrive in the country, we have been doing our best to ensure that anyone who has run away from accountability and justice is brought to book. I told you that we arrested someone recently who was at large, and those are the processes that we have done.
So was the person out of the country?
Yeah, the person was out of the country.
The one who has just been arrested?
Yes.
I want to go quickly into Ofori-Atta. Okay. This week, we got information about his detention and the Caroline Detention Center in Virginia. How did this news get to you?
So let me say at the beginning of this that when it comes to fugitive of justice or fugitive from justice, the person who is running away from justice, the fundamental rule when it comes to two states dealing with each other is that no person, apart from citizens, no person has the right to remain in another person's country. Mm-hmm. So, an extradition, that's the process of extradition that we know as a result of extradition treaty. It's not the only way that a person will be removed from one country and surrendered to another country. Right. So, we need to draw two lines here. The formal extradition process mm-hmm. and other ways of getting a fugitive to come back home, other lawful ways of getting a fugitive to come back home. What we have been dealing with over the period has been more focused on what? Extradition.
Yes.
Right. But there are other ways of getting a fugitive to arrive in the country. We have been doing our best to ensure that anyone who has run away from accountability and justice is brought to book. Mm. I told you that we arrested someone recently who was at large, and those are the processes that we have done.
So was the person out of the country?
Yeah, the person was out of the country.
The one who has just been arrested?
Yes, and now he's here.
Which country was he?
It was in I think, United States.
So the U.S. authorities helped you to arrest this person?
I won't give the details.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because, like I said, extradition is not the only process. So,
okay, great.
Now to
okay,
now to the former finance minister. As at June 2025, that's last year, mm-hmm. his visa got revoked. I know I've seen statements from people who said the visa expired.
I see. So as of June 2025, his visa was revoked.
Revoked. So it's not a question of expiration of visa.
No. So explain that, because there's some information about his visa expiring in February 2026. That's 14 February. I spoke to Manasseh a couple of days ago.
Take it from me.
That. Explain what you mean.
The information we have from authentic sources is that his visa was revoked in 2025, June 2025. So he's been living in America without a visa, let me put it that way, for all this while.
Since June 2025?
That is the information we have.
His visa was revoked?
Yes.
So
it is not everything I can put to you, but it is just surprising that we have information from people out there, some purporting to be formal information, which is completely contrary to what the reality is.
Which is what, for instance?
Which is that visa did not expire.
True.
Visa got revoked.
That's what some of his persons who speak for him have been saying.
Precisely. So I'm saying that apart from extradition, mm-hmm. there are other ways of making sure that persons
come into the country.
Exactly.
So this is one of them.
And the Attorney General's office is exploring every possible avenue of having anyone who has run away from the Republic to be returned to accountability. And we will succeed.
You will succeed. You're making this emphatic statement on television today that you will succeed.
We will use every possible legal means to bring anyone who is running away from justice in this country.
Including Ofori-Atta?
Yes.
Did his detention at the Virginia Center, have anything to do with you, the Attorney General's office?
If you can explain your question, because we don't have any extraterritorial powers to arrest people and detain them in Virginia. We cannot.
Did the U.S. Did the U.S. authorities take into consideration your request?
I don't know what they took into consideration in arresting and detaining him, but the information we have is what I've told you, that it is ICE will not come for you unless you have visa issues.
Sure.
So that is what has happened.
And this detention, you had already put out an extradition request to the U.S.
That is
correct?
Yeah, that is one way of getting. So we are using, like I mentioned,
which was going to take a longer period.
Yeah.
If you have to go through the process. And for 6 months between June and December, ICE did not catch him until last week. What happened?
That's what happened.
Did the U.S. collaborate with you in any way? Did they give you some
the United States
information?
law enforcement agencies have been our long-standing partners, and recently you've seen that we are even doing more collaborations with the FBI and the other law enforcement agencies. So that partnership has been there,
right?
And we collaborate in so many ways. I don't need to even explain to you because you are in the media and you have seen the collaboration that we've been doing over the years. I mean, over the months. So when I say that we are doing whatever we can, look, the people of this country have elected President John Mahama to put in place mechanism for bringing people to account. It's a question of accountability. And President Mahama has taken it more seriously than anything he's doing. And we, the persons who have been appointed as ministers to do the work for the president, have no option but to take these things very seriously. And there will not be anything that will leave, any stone that will leave unturned in achieving the goal. And that's what I'm telling you, that if anyone thinks that running away to another country would be a solution to, would be a channel or a path to refuse or to refuse to subject himself to accountability. But not under this government. We are going to do everything within our powers, which the law allows us to do, to bring anybody back to this country. And it doesn't have to be extradition only.
Will his detention possibly lead to him being returned to Ghana?
Well, I mean, ICE, as far as I understand the processes of ICE, when you don't have a legitimate basis to remain in the United States, they arrest you, they process you using their own administrative or judicial means, and they repatriate you to your country.
His lawyers say they are contesting it. He has a petition, which is already in motion.
Well, I am not aware of any petition from his lawyers. What I'm aware of is that the ICE itself has its own mechanisms for giving hearing, administrative and judicial mechanisms. He may take advantage of that, and on the 20th of this month, there will be a preliminary hearing on that. And when that happens, depending on the outcome of what his decision is, we may have him or he may remain in the process for a bit, maybe for a few more weeks. But be that as it may, we have been given a job to do. We are committed to doing that job. And we will ensure that what the people of Ghana are entitled to, which is accountability, will be done.
I see. He has. This is what the letter from his or the notice from his lawyers read. Mr. Ofori-Atta has a pending petition for adjustment of status, which authorizes a person to stay in the U.S. legally past the period of validity of their visa. Under U.S. law, a change of status by this method is common. That's what they say.
That I think makes the point. And I heard legally. So they are trying to legalize something. I believe that's what it means.
Yes.
They are trying to legalize something which otherwise would not be legal.
So they're saying that staying, that's based on staying beyond the valid period of
when you
visa
get a chance, you may speak to his lawyers who put out this. I am here as a public official, and I've given you information that I am reliably, seized of, and I'm telling you that his visa was revoked as far back as June 2025. And
say they're going to preliminary hearing of this said pending petition on the 20th?
I don't know which petition is being referred to. But you see, if the petition is a way of securing your lawful stay, the fact that law enforcement have picked someone up and have detained the person under this ICE program should tell us that there's some illegality involved. There's a criminal aspect of the matter. That's law. ICE is a law enforcement agency, and a law enforcement agency will not come and arrest you on civil matters. So these statements, which seek to make it look as though it's a civil matter, when the evidence on the ground suggests, indicates that law enforcement has come for you, they've detained. Who detained someone if the person has not breached a law? In the United States of America, you go and arrest someone, put the person behind bars. So sometimes I wish the public is able to read in between these lines. Even in a third world country, you cannot go and arrest someone because of civil matters and detain the person for and announce that I've arrested this person, I've detained him for civil matters.
I see.
So even in the United States, law enforcement agencies have arrested someone. They've put the person in detention. And you want to make it look like it's a civil matter and there's an application and there's not, then I don't know what you want to tell the people of your audience.
Well, I'm just reading the letter. You're referring to the letter from his lawyers.
Yeah, I'm saying that I don't see, if the letter admits, I have not paid attention to the details of this letter.
I've just read that part.
But I'm telling you that if the letter, you understand, or the information in the letter suggests that it's a civil matter, then it's a civil matter. Then I don't see how a civil matter will result in someone being arrested and detained.
I see. This adjustment of status, did you get that information earlier that he was trying to seek permanent stay in the United States? Because that has been suggested.
I am not aware of any information to that effect that he's trying to seek permanent stay. And if you want to seek a permanent stay, that is a civil matter, right? I am purely speaking to the law enforcement issues. So if there is any civil matter somewhere which suggests that someone, I don't know how that affects this issue, and whether it's normal or not. I am aware of the fact that the former Minister of Finance is in detention by law enforcement agencies in lawful custody. As to what civil entitlements or rights are available or privileges are available to him, when you are in detention, you cannot be in detention for a civil matter.
I see. Can this detention be taken advantage of by you, or do you intend to leverage that to speed up the process of bringing him to Ghana?
We are, like I said, we are taking advantage of everything. And it didn't start today. We have been on this from the very moment that we realized that the former minister was out of the country and was unwilling to return. So we have been doing works to make sure that he returns. And that is what we are committed to doing.
Including taking advantage of this. So,
oh, indeed, of course. No, if you say taking advantage,
you
we are involved. We are actually keenly interested and involved in this. So it's not even about to take advantage of it. We have been on this track from day one.
You've been involved in all of these matters, including...
We collaborate with law enforcement agencies from the United States on this matter.
I see.
Yeah.
Interesting. Now, so for the viewers who are watching, if things go as you are expecting, Ofori-Atta could be back to Ghana sooner than expected.
Oh, yes, sooner than expected.
See. Okay. Well, so we're live on 3FM 92.7, also on TV3 Ghana on Facebook. My other guests are going to be joining me in a bit. There were questions about the update on the ECOWAS trial, that's the case at the ECOWAS that the former Chief Justice, Gatu Daraba Esaba Tokono, is against the Republic of Ghana. The last time we heard that case was adjourned. You were ordered to file your statement. Have you done that?
Oh yeah, we have filed our statement of defense. And let me again bring something else to your attention. Where sometimes the reportage on these issues could be very interesting. As of 2 weeks ago, the Chief Justice, after we filed our defense, the Chief Justice calls his lawyers to file an amendment to a motion to amend her original case. We decided that we are not going to make public commentaries on some of these things. But I could understand if we were amending our case, I believe it would have been a big news that we are amending our case and our case is weak. And we are seeking to remedy, as Atacha will put it, an anemic, case. But we decided that we won't comment on some of these things because when the matter is in court, we expect the process to remain within the court and we work with that.
I see. But then, if you say you're going to work with the, when is this case next expected to be called?
So we don't have a date for the hearing of the motion to amend the original case. If we get a date, we would inform. I mean, we may let the public know if it's necessary, but we are resolute. Let me state here that every process that we've gone through in this removal, issue has followed the law strictly, and the court rulings both in Ghana and the ECOWAS are attesting to this fact that we so far we've not even one we've had about so many objections raised to this process in court, and they've all been determined in our favor, not just in Ghana, but also in the ECOWAS court as well. So we don't have any fear that we follow the law and that anything will be overturned in that regard.
I see. Well, and we're live also on the Voice of London Radio in the Heart of the City of London. In fact, we have Manasseh Azura is going to be joining us. It's been doing quite some work on the background on this matter of Ken Ofori-Atta. But this was the last update that the Attorney General gave at the press conference. My guests joining me right now, together with the Deputy Attorney General, who's been giving some very, very important information in the interest of the public regarding some of the issues that are at play right now. Take a listen to the Attorney General of that press conference. My guests will be joining me right now.
On December 10, 2025, my office transmitted the complete request to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs for onward transmission to the competent authorities in the United States of America. That is, in this case, the Department of Justice of the United States. At this point, it is left to the American authorities, especially the judicial authorities, to make a determination on whether a sufficient basis exists for the two accused persons to be extradited to Ghana to stand trial. Basically, what I want Ghanaians to know is that this government is committed to accountability. And the government has taken the requisite steps that are legally required for the Honorable Ken Ofori-Atta and Ernest Dakon Akore to be extradited to Ghana, to be brought to Ghana to face justice. As I indicated earlier, it is now left to the judicial authorities in the United States to assess the entire package that we have presented to find out whether there is sufficient basis for him to.
That's the Attorney General, Minister of Justice, Dr. Dominic Ayine there. His deputy, that is Dr. Justice Adam Sremsai, is with us in the studio. Also joining me right now is Nelson Roxon Dapiamekpo, is Majority Chief Whip in this 9th Parliament, the Member of Parliament for the people of South Dai. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. He's also a private legal practitioner. Also joining us is the Honorable Andy Apiakobi, is former MP for Asante North and also a private legal practitioner. In fact, the counsel for Chairman Wontumi, as you heard the Deputy Attorney General reference. The Honorable Andy Apiakobi, good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, thank you, my brother, for inviting me.
Oh, great.
A very good morning to my people in Asante North, and of course to my client, who has been discussed variously here.
Well, we actually didn't discuss your client that much into detail, but we referenced him.
Yes, the inferences were all pointing to him. So
okay.
we're taking notice of that.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much for joining us. Also joining us is, today I want to call him Rabbi because of how he is dressed.
Sheikh.
Sheikh.
Oh my God.
It's a poor Sheikh.
Can you be sure about that?
That's a good discussion.
Martin has been rich for a very long time.
So, Sheikh
Kubule.
Sheikh Martin Luther Kpebu.
Yes. Today, add Mohammed.
Mohammed. Today you want me to call you Mom?
Yeah, exactly. Both. Mohammed Suleiman and Martin Luther Kpebu.
Oh,
yes, what a Mr. Kaiser. It is
Thank you
good
for
to
joining.
be here.
What inspired this dressing today?
Oh, I've learned that our viewers are always looking for change. So, they say one thing that is constant in life is what change.
Indeed.
So, I haven't come here for some years now. I'm beginning to learn the rudiments of the game that brings something new each time.
Interesting.
So, exactly, it creates a bit of
excitement.
Exactly. So small. At first, I used to get irritated that do I come here to talk? Do you want to listen to what I have to say or how I look? But after some
It's not part of the communication.
Exactly. Exactly. So now I'm learning the rudiments. Yes. Okay. So people of Ghana, thank you. Thank you for making this program the greatest, the best, unparalleled, uncontested, everything rolled into one. Thank you. You make this program rock.
And
as usual,
yes.
I want to thank Togbe Afede. Yes, Togbe stood up when Akufo-Addo was maltreating us, misgoverning us, but Togbe Afede stood up and showed how the governance was poor. Yes, the same was done by Sofa Akufu, who we have nicknamed Yasantua, Domahini, Osi Adeyo, Ajimambedu the second, and then Garmanche, Kentucky Tekuchru the second, right? The list is endless. And of course, you the good people of Ghana, right? Yeah, right. Except that we just hope that in this current administration we'll ramp up the protests. So far, so good. But it doesn't mean that we should, start patting ourselves on the back and go to sleep. No, we have to be very vigilant. The administration needs our support, right? Mm-hmm. And then also, want to mention the case of the 52.5 billion that the Auditor General said he will explain. Johnson Esiedu, you said you will explain where this money went. That money that left the GCB account to unknown sources. Over 4 years now, Auditor General is not able to explain. This cannot continue,
right.
Okay? And then, last but not the least, men above 40, please, your prostate health, please, keep checking. And if you haven't checked before, please, take steps. We don't want to lose you needlessly. Yeah. All right, thank you.
No, it's important. Thank you. Thank you for this. And quite we got some notice sometime within the week commending you for consistently saying this particular one. So thank you. Thank you so much, Council. And I start off from where the Deputy Attorney General ended about the latest on Gyan Ofori-Atta and the fact that based on the updates today, all things being equal, he may be brought back into Ghana earlier than expected. That's what the Deputy Attorney General has told us. This detention that we're hearing this week and how things are playing out right now. I'll start off with you, Lawyer Nelson Ross on this latest with Gyan Ofori-Atta and what the Deputy Attorney General has just told us this morning.
Yes.
Quickly.
Yes. Let me seize the opportunity to say Happy New Year to yourself.
Thank you.
My brother, DAG, Shremsai, Doc, my senior in Parliament and at the bar, the venerable, who abandoned that path. Let me show you a new one. You know that a man sponsored his removal from Parliament. Today he's become the savior of the man. Are you aware?
Yeah, you mentioned it a bit.
Yes. I see. And Happy New Year to you, my... Yes, the whole nation says now that you are my most revered friend.
You saved me.
Yeah.
You saved me. Now I see the friend.
And to my constituents in Pekik, Palik, Kwebetongo. It's beautiful to be here once more. Indeed. The first time this year.
But this
look,
accusation without evidence.
No. You are the evidence.
Gentlemen, hold on.
You are the material evidence. Yes. So, look, we should commend the AGs for the very quiet steps that they are taking. I think that sometimes that's what it takes. The very quiet steps that yield results. But look, today we know the address for service for Ofori-Atta. Do you know his address? You don't know his address for service. He has two addresses. One in the US and one is Minka Premo here. they've been defending this man to the extent that the minority leader and the entire minority caucus came to parliament to assure the entire nation. Recall when National Security conducted some exercise, went to his home.
Yes.
They won't let us sleep in this country.
Yes.
They haven't heard some before that somebody's home could be, a person could be, searched. John Jinapo, as the Minister for Energy as he is now, then ranking for energy, his home was searched. Dr. Kamran Donko, his home was searched. Collins Dauda, were in opposition. When we raised it, they said we should keep quiet. We were not above the law.
Yes.
But suddenly, when national security operatives went to search the home of Ofori-Atta, they say, no, it was unconstitutional and all that, and that we were hounding him, we were infringing on his fundamental rights. So they brought this matter to the floor. To the extent that the minority leader assured the entire nation that at a certain point in July last year, because the matter was raised sometime March or April. Now, no, it was in February. And that Ofori-Atta will return to defend himself before the court. And we all agreed.
Yes.
And went quiet on the matter. So it was social media and bloggers who were now reckoning. There was 30 days to the deadline, 15 days to the deadline. The day the deadline came, the whole nation became aware. They couldn't produce Ofori-Atta. We saw pictures of him in the streets of some city in the States. So, for me, it's about probity and accountability. Me, tomorrow, I am willing to subject myself for my role in public office. Nobody should be above reproach when your service is reviewed. You are supposed to account for your tenure in office. Do you remember this man, Kwame Pepra? Do you remember him?
Yeah. Former Minister of Finance.
Who took over from the venerable Dr. Kpebu?
Right.
Yes. The former president, then as an attorney general, he asked him to account for his tenure as Minister of Finance for 4 years. I think he did 3.5 years because Kpebu was changed. It's been some time. I don't know whether during the second term of Jerry Rawlings or after a couple of months into his second term before Kpebu went away and then Kwame Pepra came in. But it was in 97 when he took over.
Yes.
Until 2001.
Yes.
And the deputy, Victor Salome, was a deputy to Kpebu for a long time. They were asked to account. They didn't abscond from the jurisdiction. They stayed. To the extent that, look, there's a certain write-up. I have to show it to you. I printed it and hid it somewhere. Victor Salome, it got to a stage, the man who was like his chaperone, who was bringing him to court, it got to a stage one day he vomited blood in court. But practically with oxygen masks over his nose. But he had to stay in court. I'm not the one saying it, but the person who took him to court, who accompanied him, who was taking him on in wheelchair and all that, he was in severe medical distress. But the judge demanded that I wanted to see him that day. All this we've lived through. Today, Kwame Pepra went to jail and he's come back. He's part of the NDC stock. He's part of our Council of Elders. And Ofori-Atta, you say you shouldn't account for your stewardship. No. You will account.
I see.
Others accounted for it. You will account. So these tactics won't fly. But I want to assure DAG, or I want to let him know that DAG now, if you have any matter in court against Ofori-Atta, you know his service address for service. We know it. Minka Premo is defending him. They've just issued a public notice. So they've been acting for him all this while. Get the court order that they can be served through a substituted order.
That's better.
Yes.
Okay.
So he can be. You see, the intent of the court in all matters is notice. That's the essence of service. That the party must be brought into notice of a matter pending before him, against him, or in his favor. So when we say somebody should be served, you remember the day we argued with the OSP chap about criminal summons?
Yes, yes.
And he disagreed.
Yes.
I showed him the law, he won't agree. Eventually, they went the route that
That's why we suspect they were delaying to give
yes.
more
Eventually,
time.
they issued a criminal summons. So issuing criminal summons without without inviting a person to a police station, taking his caution statement and his charge statement, all is possible.
Yes.
In fact, that is only one alternative.
Yes.
Right.
The prosecutorial body can actually charge you with a crime without inviting you to a police station.
Yes.
They will serve you with the criminal summons.
I see, and now we are hearing that the Ofori-Atta could be brought in earlier than expected.
Those are the tertiary steps that they've taken. But the fundamental ones were the one we were talking about. This could have been done much earlier.
Right.
Serve the man with a criminal summons. And use other means to bring that to his attention. Once he has the notice of that, you are good to go. A lot of trials have been done in absentia of accused persons. A lot. And convictions have been had in the process. So I will urge Ofori-Atta to abandon all these tactics. We've all been defense attorneys before.
I see.
We abandon these tactics. He should come home and deal with the issues. After all, prosecution doesn't mean conviction. So come and you have a phalanx of lawyers at your disposal. And Andi Akubi is here. Once upon a time, your paths were not crossing, but now you can engage him. He's a very formidable lawyer.
Yes, after asking that he be removed.
You remember the 98?
Yeah, the 98.
He championed the 98.
That was a different agenda.
No. But they were contiguous to a purpose.
Yes.
I see.
So I am saying that you see, as part of our governance process, he should submit himself to due diligence.
I see.
And let us look into the issue.
The matters.
He may be prosecuted or he may not be prosecuted. But by all means, come. But once you stay away, it gives people the opportunity to be more convinced that then there's something you did something untoward.
Okay.
Then you have something to hide.
Well, you're not on the attack. Now that we're knowing that he's been detained because he's actually been living in the United States illegally for the past 6 months.
He left Ghana on the 6th of January. That was a very... In fact, when I checked, it was such a fortuitous date to depart the shores of this country.
Let me acknowledge the presence of Dr. Joshua Zato as well, is joining us. I earlier indicated...
My ex-friend.
Doc, good morning. Thank you for joining us. Good morning.
Good morning to you and good morning to this panel of esteemed members.
Especially your
Happy New Year to all of you.
Returns.
I was on campus with Honorable. All of a sudden, he has left us behind. He's now a very big man. Happy New Year to all those who are watching. There was a song that says 24 of Koukurum. So I went to my room for Christmas with a bulletin bag.
And now you are back.
And I went to spend the Christmas. When I went, it was a sad Christmas.
Okay.
It was a bad Christmas.
We'll get to that.
You always give us 2 minutes to also do that. Let me also do my small. Let me also talk small. Just 1 minute. It's good like that. Usually this time, Tumu and the whole of Sisala land is bustling. Young farmers and everybody, they've sold maize. They are buying new motorbikes, new clothing. They are building new houses, and they are marrying new wives. So because usually this time there's a lot of money in their pockets.
Like you just married.
There's always a lot of money in their pockets, but this time it is sad.
Okay.
Last year's maize cannot be sold because the prices are just collapsed. It used to be around 600. It has now come to 300 even. And secondly, you cannot even get buyers to buy.
The dollar, the cedi is not healthy against the dollar.
They think that's what you always say. Now you would think that because there's a lot of maize gloss, and you think because the price is very down, then they should what? Parallel this drop in the what? Price of what? Food. No. A bowl of kenke is still 5 cedis in Tumu. It has been 5 cities. Like 5 cities.
But if a bag of maize is 300,
a single ball of kenke is still 5 cities to move. The price has not reduced, and the size too has not increased.
When the price of a bag of maize is now half,
the farmers there are suffering. Some of them have borrowed to invest. They are looking at
verify this fact.
Some of them are looking at what economic collapse because they cannot pay back. And I'm praying and hoping that the government will listen. I've always told you this. Please tell the government, tell Buffer Stock, go to Salaland, help this farmer. Go and help them. I always say this and I say this too. They need your help.
Thank you.
Government, help them.
Right. So, and I was coming to you, the other one, the appeal to be on this. So we'll move on. We'll come to the economy matter. We'll come to the economy matter. Thank you. Now, on the appeal on the latest that we're getting to know on Ofori-Atta and then also his detention, the fact that he's been living in the U.S. for 6 months illegally. His lawyers detailed the fact that he was in the process of amending his status or changing his status in the United States, and that there is a petition in motion to that effect. But this morning, what the Deputy Attorney General is telling us is that for 6 months, the man has been living in the U.S. illegally. His visa was revoked in June 2025. That's what we're getting to know this morning.
Thank you very much, Alfred. Unfortunately, I cannot side with Attorney General when he says that his visa has expired and revoked and all that, because I'm not privy to the facts. And I will also warn all of us that when we are making such allegations, let's treat them as allegations rather than treating them as positions of fact, because they may not be factual after all. Because some of the words we use here are very strong. Say he's stolen, he's done that. Well, they continue to be allegations, and 1 million allegations will not crystallize into evidence. So let us be mindful of how we throw words at persons who have not been convicted. Number 3 of the thing is that oral, to me, in terms of policy, in terms of principle, I am in support of it. And indeed, all persons, not only persons of one political party or the other, when you assume public office, you should be mindful of the fact that you should be accountable for the period that you stay in that public office. And that at any point in time, if you are called to come and account for your stewardship, it should not be difficult for you to come and do it. Because it must be a principle that all of us will have to uphold. Because you don't go to public office to amass wealth at the expense of the state. So anytime, any day, if you are called upon. But again, like my good friend said, that if allegations are thrown at you, it doesn't mean that you are guilty of the offenses being preferred against you. So for me, the best thing to do, even as an accused person or a suspect, is to come and defend yourself.
So that you are urging Ofori-Atta to come home?
Of course. All you know. But again, when my good friend was discussing service, you don't need an accused person in court to start prosecution. You don't need him. Once you serve him notice of the pendency of these offenses in court, it is in his interest to come to court. Otherwise, if you decide not to come, there is a Supreme Court case that I even used recently, Right Reverend Abuaji, and says that if you undermine your own opportunities of being heard, you cannot plead natural justice in defense. You understand? So once there is service of the pendency and you elect not to come to court, you cannot hold the hands of the judicial process and so that you are not prosecuted. So, Attorney General, when the people they are running away from justice, all you need to do is to provide evidence of service and continue. Because the state cannot wait for you, and then you will be in Greenland, and we cannot come to Greenland. And then
Greenland, Iceland.
Iceland. And then you'll be enjoying your time while the state is also waiting for you. We can't do that. But again, when you cannot even find a person to serve, and I disagree with the party who says that serve his lawyers. if he is not a lawyer on record in the court, you cannot serve him and say that I think he is a lawyer. What shows that, I don't know, Kpebu may be acting for him in different cases, different situations. You cannot be a perpetual lawyer so that anything, the matrimonial matter, go and serve Kpebu. No. That is not proper service. If he is on record as admitting appointment, and that he is a lawyer in this case, it could be so many cases. Like Attorney General was citing, like Attorney General was citing different cases in respect of my client.
I agree.
In these cases, I have filed notice of appointment as solicitor. So if you serve me in that capacity, it is served. But you think that Martin is in a matrimonial matter with another woman, and Martin is my friend, so you come and serve me.
Ken is not being divorced, so we are not.
I see.
You cannot serve me like that. So now, that is another one. The accountability issues. I think that every person coming into public office must be conscious of the fact that you are accountable for your period. So that one, I will not, if they serve me with a process, and they have served me before. I think the last time when I had left free zones, I was summoned before NIB to prove that I had sold some land in Takoradi to a company. I appeared and I told them that, well, yes, the land is for that company. I think it's Plot Industries. But the land is not public land. The land was somebody's land. That person, I think, Poku Transport, he transferred the land to his daughter, who is the chief executive of Plot. And the woman used the land to build the factory. But I went to commission the factory.
Yeah. I see.
As a public officer. When I provided the information, in fact, the man even saw me off at the gate. Say, thank you very much for providing this information. So when they call you, just go and tell them what you know. But in recent times also, there are a lot of public commentary on pending cases, which I am not comfortable with.
Okay.
And I want to refer us to an existing law that does not allow us to be discussing
we'll
cases.
come to that because let me finish.
Let me finish this. And this is Legal Profession Regulation, LI 2423, and Section 38 thereof. And it is explicit.
No, that would be rule.
So
regulation. Rule 38.
Rule 38.
Regulation.
No, Regulation 38, yes. A lawyer who is participating or has participated in the investigation or litigation of a matter that is still pending before a court shall not make an out-of-court statement or grant an interview to the media on the matter. I rest my case.
Okay, well, thank you. Let me bring in the lawyer Martin Kpebu. You had indicated prior to the Deputy Attorney General arriving this
but the unfortunate situation is that...
I'll come to you. That you had information that Ofori-Atta was going through the process of seeking permanent stay in the United States, correct?
Absolutely. Absolutely, yes. And there you have it in the letter. You see the part of the letter that says that he's applied for adjustment of status. Adjustment of status. Now, what that means is that he's applied for a permanent residence card, what we popularly call the green card. So the information I had some months ago was that his son had applied for him. And in the U.S., okay, I'm not a U.S. lawyer, but I've lived there, I mean, you know, in and out over 2 decades now. So some of it I can talk.
You have done locum there.
You know it, international anyway, locum. So I know it practically, but I'm not speaking as a U.S. lawyer. So you can go in there, right? So you have sons or children who are above 21. So you enter on a visitor's visa, B1, B2, you're doing other things, blah, blah, blah. Then your children who are citizens can apply for you to become a permanent resident. That's to get a green card. So that's the type that Ofori-Atta's son did for him, so that he become a permanent resident. All right? So the information that I got a few months ago is what they've confirmed. So watch their statement. They say he has a petition, okay, pending for an adjustment of status. Adjustment of status.
In his favor.
Yes. So that's applying for a green card. So instead of staying here, you can live outside the U.S. and then the child will apply for you. When it's time, you go through. It takes long, generally, and it's very complex. But you can also enter the U.S. and then they apply for you. So that's the type that Ofori-Atta did. And so viewers, a few months ago, when I mentioned it, people were like, oh, what's your source? What's your source? Then I said, no. If I have to disclose my source every time, then very soon all my sources will dry because they will say, oh, we can't trust this lawyer because anything you tell him, he'll go and expose. So you see why we don't disclose our sources. But they say that time reveals everything.
True.
Yes, time reveals everything. So thankfully, in this one, in less than 3 months, time has revealed that he has applied for a green card.
I see.
Yes.
Well, Manasseh Azariah is joining. I'll come back to you, Kpebu. Manasseh Azariah is joining us as an investigative journalist. Led the investigation to one of the cases that Ken Ofori-Atta is having to answer for. That is the SML case. He's joining us on Zoom right now. Manasseh, good morning.
Good morning, Alfred.
Let me put it on record. He's joining us from the United States as well. So Manasseh has some information on how things are playing out. But first of all, Manasseh, you please, you earlier indicated that Ken Ofori-Atta had a visa, a U.S. visa that would expire on the 14th of February, Valentine's Day this year, correct?
Yes, I did.
So this morning, the Deputy Attorney General just told us that apparently Ken Ofori-Atta's visa was let me just get it right. It was revoked in June 2025. That is the information that Ken Ofori-Atta's visa, the U.S. visa, was revoked in 2025. And he's been living in the U.S. illegally for the past 6 months until his detention by ICE. That's what we are hearing this morning. So how does it correlate with this visa that you're talking about that will expire on the 14th of February this year?
Well, I am not privy to this information, but it is possible that the visa, as his lawyers even said, or confirmed, is set to expire in February. But the revocation, as we are hearing now, it's always possible that somebody knows that, okay, you have this length of stay, but for ABC reason, we are revoking that. So I don't think it's inconsistent with the February 14 visa expiration date.
I see. So that was just the clarity I needed. And you indicated as well that he has other visas, other valid visas?
Yes.
Which are those?
He has valid visas to the UK, United Kingdom, and also a valid visa to Canada. And that his UK visa will expire on the 21st of April 2032, and then his Canadian visa will expire on the 31st of May 2031. That is if somebody doesn't revoke those visas as we are being told. So it is possible that you can have a visa up to a certain number of years, but for some reasons, the state will say, look, this is what we've given you, but we are taking it back. That may be the reason we are hearing about the revocation of the U.S. visa in 2025. But the original visa date, if it hadn't been revoked, I mean, that visa would have expired in February.
I see. Well, that's the update to that information is what the Deputy Attorney General has just given us exclusively this morning, that his visa, the U.S. visa, was revoked as far back as June 2025, and has been living in the U.S. for the past 6 months illegally, and that is what landed him into trouble with ICE. So that's that exclusive detail that we got. But then this news of his detention, there's some information you've been picking up and digging on that. Tell us about it.
Yes, I have had sources that witnessed the arrest of Ken Ofori-Atta, and the sources say he was arrested in Washington, D.C. on the morning of Tuesday, January 6, 2026. And then the information is that this wasn't like those organized raids by ICE at specific places. It looked as if they had gone in specifically for him, because the sources say that as soon as he emerged from the entrance of the building, they moved in, surrounded him, got him into the car, and then drove him away. And if you look at the place where he was arrested, it is about 89 miles from where he's detained now. That's about an hour and 30 minutes drive. So that was how it occurred in Washington, D.C. And then there is also the specific location where he was arrested. There is a luxury apartment complex in Washington, D.C., located on the 1111 24th Street in Washington, D.C., and the building is called the Westlight Apartment Complex. Westlight Apartment Complex. And my sources say this is where Ken Ofori-Atta has been living in the U.S. And then his son has been spotted in this building, his wife too. As to whether he's bought it or is renting it, they cannot say. But this is where Ken Ofori-Atta has been living. It's a luxury apartment at the west end of Washington, D.C., and some prominent people have lived in this place. The most prominent official who has lived in this building, the immediate past Vice President of the U.S., Kamala Harris, had a 2-bedroom condo in this apartment. And when she became the Vice President and was moving out, this property was listed and sold at $1.89 million. That's a 2-bedroom apartment in this building owned by Kamala Harris. Was listed in April 2021, and then it was eventually sold for almost $2 million. And this is in a prime location with very good security, and it's just about a 20-minute walk from the White House. And this sources say this where Ken Ofori-Atta has been living in the U.S. until Tuesday morning, when he was emerging from this building. The ICE officials or agents just surrounded him, moved him to the car, and then drove him away to the detention center that he is at now.
Interesting. So he was actually arrested in Washington, D.C. and moved to Virginia.
Yes, he was in Washington, D.C., and the exact location, as I've said, is 1111 24th Street in Washington. And if you Google the Westlight Apartments in Washington, D.C., is quite a prime location. We are told some diplomats and very important people live there. A luxury apartment complex, because of its security and then also location, its centrality to some of the most important buildings in Washington, D.C. That's where Ken has been living.
And this is some exclusive information Manasseh has picked, and he's just disclosing it publicly for the first time here on Key Point. And you say, based on the information you have, the entire process of picking up Ken Ofori-Atta looked like more of a, for the lack of a better expression, a targeted one, that they went in specifically for him.
Exactly. That is what the sources that witnessed the arrest said, and that it was very swift. Some people who were even not looking may not have seen, because as soon as he emerged, they picked him up, and according to them, he's not been living in the so-called like a fugitive that would be said here. That he moves about freely, comes out, goes out, and on this occasion, as soon as he stepped out, they surrounded him and picked him up.
I see. Now, but you've also, after this news became public, been working around and also picking up a bit more information about Ofori-Atta and all of this process of he being in the U.S., his lawyers saying he's not well, and then also seeking treatment. The latest we got is that he's recuperating. In fact, that's what his lawyer, that is Frank Davis, said this week, that he decided to stay there a bit longer because he's recovering from the medical process that he went through. Is that consistent with the information that your sources picked up about his living and how he moved around in that particular apartment you talk about?
Yes, when it comes to health, you cannot say much, but according to these sources, they see him living normally. That is what the sources say. That, oh, he's living normally. Sometimes see him out, and sometimes he gets visitors. So it's like he's that's the outward appearance. That's what these sources say. But of course, this is a health issue. You cannot just see someone and assume everyone is right. But if they say he's recuperating, I suspect he's getting better, as the lawyers may have said, because from people who see him, it doesn't look like, that's from the outside, it doesn't look like someone who is very sick. And I think this information we are getting from Washington, D.C. is inconsistent with somewhere last year, December or so. There were some reports that he was cited in Washington, D.C. And if you look at his travel records, he left this country on January 4, 2025, departed from Terminal 3, and then the airline he boarded was the United Airlines flight 997, and that airline was headed for the Washington, D.C. So it looks like his location and life within the D.C. area has also been confirmed.
So how does this news of his detention get to you, especially because of the interest you have as an investigative journalist, investigated a case that he's having to answer for?
Well, I think it is good news if the Americans want to comply and with our extradition request. I think this has made it easier for them. Extradition comes with a whole lot of legal issues. But if you overstay your visa and then you want to apply for a change of status, which is to extend your stay, and as far back as July 2025, I think last year I even made it public that a source close to Ofori-Atta said he had no intention of coming back home to face justice. And part of the reason the person cited was, look, they are just waiting for him to humiliate him and all of that, and he wouldn't subject himself to that. And maybe it is now becoming very clear that he might have had bail the longest overnight, maybe at the OSP, because those who were charged home, they got their freedom just back home. They got their freedom just a day afterwards. But it looks like that humiliation has started. And for me, I said on this show that whatever we want to do with the Americans goes beyond just the law. There is a politics, there's a diplomacy angle to it. So for me, this makes it easier for them to bring him home to face justice like everyone else. And I think it is good news. And I suspect the kind of attention that has occasioned his travel and stay in the U.S. has also influenced this in a way. If you're hearing of the revocation of his visa, prior to the noise about he running away and all of that, I didn't think he had been in the public for anything that would perhaps have resulted in all of this. So for me, generally, it is good news, and I can't wait to hear the breaking news that, well, Ofori-Atta has been put on a flight and brought to Ghana. He should go to court like everyone else and answer for everything he did. Because spending all those monies on SML could have built hospitals that people like any average Ghanaian who cannot travel outside to get this quality health care he's getting in the US can also do it. So if he decides to use our money in a certain way, then it is only normal that we ask for him to come down and account for his stewardship.
In fact, the Deputy Attorney General this morning has indicated a number of things, that there's going to be a hearing on the 20th, which is just some 10 days away from today, regarding Ofori-Atta's detention. So he would have his day in court, sort of, because of his detention in the U.S. And then we'll get to see what will happen afterwards. But then he also states that he could be brought into this country earlier than expected. That is, if we're going to go through the route of the extradition, it would have taken longer, as you referenced. But then, with this detention, he could be brought in earlier than expected. That's all things being equal.
Yes, I don't disagree with him, because I also said, I don't remember whether it's on this show or Newsday, that when the Americans want you out of their country in this evening, they can get him out. There are people who had green cards and other valid visas, and for some reason, something they did or said, they got them out. And I have read somewhere that staying in another person's country is a privilege that that country gives you. And it was in relation to some criticism that US officials were responding to. And that it is a privilege, it's not your right to live here. But now there is some evidence of the overstaying or a violation of his status. So if they are committed to bringing him, I think this is the easiest way, and there is good reason to expect that they would want to help us. I think I remember that the first batch of people that were extradited from Ghana to the US were told the request had come long ago when President Akufo-Addo, that is Ken Ofori-Atta's cousin, was in office, and people were asking, so why did Ghana not act? This administration has sent a number of people to the US, a number of Ghanaians to the US to face justice. So it is only normal that we expect to have that kind of arrangement, that when they need the people who have caused some harm to Americans, we give it to them. And when we need someone who has caused so much harm to Ghanaians, then we have this expectation that they would bring him. And for me, this is the easiest way to get him down to Ghana than even the extradition.
Well, Manasseh, thank you very much for talking to us, and stay with me in a bit. How easy will this detention make his Ofori-Atta's return to Ghana? I mean, I use easy, juxtaposing it with if we were taking the route of the extradition. Deputy AG.
So, thank you very much. So, this detention is in respect of alleged violations of immigration rules. So, when you violate immigration rules, you will be simply deported. Mm. You may even choose to self-deport. That is, so on 20th, it may happen that the former finance minister will just inform the court that, look, I don't want to go through all this. I want just take me home. And he would just be sent back to us, as Senior just said, so we could hold him accountable. So that is how easy it could be. Extradition could also be that easy if he's arraigned and he admits that, look, I want to go back to my country and face justice. That could also cut the process short. But he may contest either of these processes. Yeah, he may insist that he has some other rights, and the system would have to indulge him to use all the legitimate legal, avenues that are available. And I mean, let me mention this. Our mission in the United States, in Washington, the ambassador, Victor Smith, has been making efforts to go and visit him and offer him the necessary support that a citizen is entitled to in such situations. Unfortunately, he seemed to have refused every effort that such assistance as at now.
I see.
Yeah. So, but we are making the Republic. We are making every effort to offer him all the assistance he needs. And you know, when you are in a different country and some things like this happen, being a former high-ranking official, we really owe you a duty to offer your necessary support in that situation. So,
you're the one saying.
I think Ofori-Atta is rejecting, rebuffing the efforts or his eyes.
Yes, the initial efforts were rebuffed. I believe.
He doesn't want.
What kind of assistance were you going to give to him in terms of what?
If you need a lawyer, if you need financial support, anything that will help you to come out of that situation.
And he said he doesn't want it.
Support.
Let me give you a one sentence. This things happened. You see, when Reagan, when he was shot, the one that the assassination attempt whilst he was in office, president of the U.S. When he woke up, the doctors, one of the questions he asked them that, I hope you are not Democrats. You know, Reagan is Republican. So because the ambassador is NDC, maybe that's why he's rejecting it.
I see.
Well, so that is the situation.
So you offered some help.
Of course, I mean,
Ofori-Atta.
Indeed, yeah.
As you know, in the case of any other high-ranking public official,
not just any citizen who finds himself distressed.
And he said he didn't need it.
I mean, he did not accept.
He did not accept it, which you cannot force it on him.
Yeah.
I see, but getting to know now from if what Manasseh is saying to us is anything to go by, that based on the information from his sources, that one, he was arrested in Washington, D.C. on Tuesday, January 6th, which is some 4 days ago. And it looked as though they went in specifically for him. In that apartment that he mentions, the luxury apartment, 111 24th Street in Washington, D.C. And that they had sort of picked up some information prior to their arrival. They didn't go in, no eyes when they go into a particular community based on what we watch or see. They go in and they scout around. But this one, it was as though, based on his information, they went in, the ICE officials went in specifically for him. The moment he got out of the apartment, he was grabbed and taken to Virginia.
Yeah, so, I mean, I do not dispute my good friend who we're all here and then he left me. He's refusing to come back. I don't know, one of these days I'll just, Manasseh, I'll just bring him back. But, I mean, his information is consistent with what we have.
It's consistent with what you have?
The mode of arrest, yeah.
The mode of arrest?
Yeah.
That they went in to the apartment.
Specifically for
Ken Ofori-Atta.
Yeah. And the place of detention, as he mentioned, is the same information that we have.
I see.
No, he was not emphatic like that. He says he believes that.
No, but then now it's been confirmed.
That,
now you're saying that based on what their sources told him, is consistent with what your briefing you got.
Precisely.
Even the
that
briefing,
he went in specifically for him.
Even the briefing cannot be specific. It is based on allegations and suspicions.
No, I think the information is that he was picked up at a particular place and sent to a particular place. That is what Manasseh said. And I'm saying that the information he has given is consistent with what we also have.
Yes, that that's this said luxury apartment, 111 24th Street, Washington,
I do not
DC.
have the details of
the
number and all that. But the manner in which he was arrested, I mean, is what he was picked up. He wasn't in a group or anything. He was picked up specifically and then sent there.
I see. To this Virginia Caroline Detention Center.
Which is about 1.5 hours.
You know, Virginia, Washington, and Maryland.
They are in the same...
same enclave. It's actually called Washington, Greater Washington area.
I see.
So,
Kpebu, getting to, you just made the initial comment before I went to Manasseh. Now we have some more detail that Manasseh has given and corroborated by the Deputy Attorney General that this is indeed what they have received, the briefing of how he was picked up. It was more of something that was targeted, that this is the person we are going in for. And they got him, took him to Virginia. How does this get to you?
Yeah, so it's welcome news, right? Except that we'll wait with bated breath because, these are legal maneuvers that have to be done, right? Yes. This one, a few months ago, I heard something about that. That look, another way would be to get this guy deported for violating the visa rules, right? Yeah, somebody mentioned it, that it could be. Not knowing, steps where I foot. Yeah, so now I'm putting the pieces of the jigsaw puzzle together. Somebody mentioned it, that they could look at a deportation for violation of visa rules. So let's see how it goes. Because we don't have too many details, we want to be cautious so that we don't run ahead of ourselves. But in the meantime, at least, the fact that he's been restricted is a bit of a warning to him. It's a salvo that, look, like Manasseh put it, humiliation. It started. He's been too stubborn. He has to just come back home. And perhaps this is the time that we should call on Akufo-Addo to prevail upon his brother to come back.
What has Akufo-Addo got to do?
But that's his brother.
Please.
That's why they are family. When he was in government...
in persona.
Oh, no. So let me make my point. That's when you come from a family and you are involved in trouble, you don't...
So you can't talk and leave Akufo-Addo.
They are family. Yes, so they are family.
Respond to the issue as raised.
Okay. No.
They are family, and it's normal in our cultural setups, okay? Not just here alone. I mean, in most civilizations, one member of a family is in trouble, they'll go to the rest and offer advice. So at this stage, Akufo-Addo has to step in to, prevail upon Ofori-Atta to come to stop the further humiliation, because he's dragging their family name into disrepute. Because prior to that, Akufo-Addo had said no person is corrupt, etc. So a valid. Okay. Oh, I haven't finished.
Yes, yes.
Right. So that is the point. Now, also a bit on the arrest process. So you see how Dr. Sremsa is mentioned. You see that Ofori-Atta may fight this. So this ICE detention itself can lead to court proceedings, and then this can also further, delay. So that's how come we are asking that, look, Akufo-Addo and the rest of the family members have to come in and say, look.
Step in.
Oh, yes. So we've stepped in. So by saying this, by saying he should come, that's where I first started. I said Ofori-Atta should come. Then later I went to Akufo-Addo.
If you say it could delay, what do you mean?
Oh, no, there'll be legal proceedings.
Okay.
There'll be legal proceedings because somebody, you see, even the lawyer's letter says that they are trying to get his release.
Yes.
So meaning that he's not willing to come back home. The lawyer's letter says that somebody who has been arrested, from now, ICE will do the necessary processes and we want to deport him. But the lawyer say no. They are stepping in and trying to get him released. So that's a fight. That's underway. So once the fight is underway, it could protract, right? And so that's what we're saying. The easier option is for us to prevail upon Ofori-Atta to calm down. You see it. We are all living here. Ghana, we are not dead. Even Zato, who has been saying the economy is bad, he bought fuel at a lower price to drive to Tumu, right? Exactly. Zato, how much was fuel when Akufo-Addo was leaving? Today it's far cheaper. You bought cheaper fuel and went home.
Right.
Chinia, you said people are not marrying. The Chinia marry. The Chinia, your competitor, did he marry when you were home?
He is going now on his own. He says
but Chinia, the MP, for the MP. The MP took a new wife, so you decided.
So don't digress.
It's important. It's important. So the point we are making is that, look, yes, times are generally hard, but it's been better. The past 1 year, inflation, etc., everything is calmed down, so it's better than a year before.
We'll come to that. That's why I don't want you to go ahead.
And so the point I'm addressing is that we are assuring Ofori-Atta that Ghana is not as bad. In actual fact, Ghana has become better than he left.
So he should come.
So he should come back home. Now, so we're talking about the fact that it could lead to court proceedings and could delay. It could lead to court proceedings and could delay. That's why the option that family members should tell him to throw in the towel and calm down. It's a better option because when it does that, then it can give OSP to a bit of reprieve. Because, for me, even when Ofori-Atta comes still, my beef with the OSP on the way Kissie Jabe allowed Ofori-Atta to escape will never end because we need to get some accountability. That public officer should not be aiding other public officers to flee when it's time for accountability. But at least I'm sure that if Ofori-Atta came today, more Ghanaians will prevail upon me that, Kpebu, you allow Kisi to rest a bit. You see, so if Ofori-Atta comes down, it will help Kisi Ejabi a bit. To give
your friend that
exactly, yes.
Indeed.
You see, so that's very key. That is very, very, very key. This coming down earlier. Otherwise, for these legal proceedings, look, and don't forget also, even for the extradition, Dr. Sremsa will corroborate to you. Let's not forget, even for extradition, when the judge makes a final order that, yes, you can deport him, it's not final. It's the Secretary of State of the U.S., what's it, Rubio. That's his name, right?
Yes.
Marco Rubio. It's Rubio who has the final word. It's not the judge. When it comes to extradition in the U.S., the final authority...
It's like the foreign minister.
The foreign minister, Okujetu's this counterpart or equivalent, right? He has the final say. So extradition, those who are excited that, okay, then it can help the extradition process.
The court decision is subject to appeal.
Of course.
It's not a direct appeal. It's review. No, not the word appeal as lawyers. It's review. There's a way you can go around it, but not a direct appeal. When the court decides, it's final when it comes to extradition, but there are ways to go about it for supervisory jurisdiction in the higher courts, but not directly as an appeal. So, look, because it's subject to a lot of politics, what we need is to increase the calls, just like the way Arise Ghana, you know, Prince Derek J, Rex Umar and Co, their organization, they said they'll be picketing at the U.S. Embassy. You remember some months ago, I mentioned that we'll organize a demonstration to go to the U.S. Embassy. Thank God that other Ghanaians are coming in. Yes, and even before Arise Ghana's decision, you know, Professor Kweku Asari and others have already written to the U.S. ambassador.
Yes.
So Ghanaians, this is what we are talking about. We all need to get up and ratchet up the calls. Make the return of Ofori-Atta front and center of all our public discussions. That way, the U.S. will see that we are serious and we understand. But if you leave it to a few people across the table here, it won't help. So Arise Ghana, we are grateful. Make sure that it happens. We'll come and lend you our support. We will attend. Yes.
Well, thank you.
Is it 1044? That's where they say that if we find you with money, etc., you cannot explain, it's money laundering. And that one, once again, when Godfrey Dami, he said they have been passed on the case to the Awuku. Then Godfrey Dami wrote the opinion that no, Awuku shouldn't go on. That law cannot be applied.
The MPP of Darocha, Sakiskek, Victor Wusu, Kofi Buzia, Professor Edubuahin, Alajete, J.A. Kufuor, those men of value, those men of integrity are not what we have today. I tell you without mincing words, the 5 people who are contesting, wanting to be flag bearers, are just sankwas. I tell you without mincing words, the 5 people who are contesting, wanting to be flag bearers, are just sankwas. I tell you without mincing words, the 5 people who are contesting, wanting to be flag bearers,